Hey, Miss Jennifer.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Good, good, good. It'll take a little while to get everybody logged in and everything, so we'll get it all set up. Um, let's see. I know that I had several. I'm gonna check how to do this.
Nina, go. Go.
Try to multitask on a few things real quick.
Peeking. Let's see what's going on.
My siblings are driving me up a wall this morning.
Y'all excited about getting started? How are you doing, Katie?
I'm doing good.
Have you been able to stay well, or have you been sick too?
I'm actually like the only one that didn't actually get sick. I mean, I was
Wow.
sick for a little while, but I didn't actually get sick. So
Well, good, good, good. I know you guys have been through it. What a yucky, yucky deal. And we'll just kind of have to, it'll take a little bit to get everybody loaded in.
And I'm so tired of wearing a mask whenever we go shopping or out to eat. It's so irritating.
I understand that. It makes it difficult.
yeah, we had more masks in ballet, and it was so hard.
I bet. So we'll have a few new students this year that we haven't met before, so we'll have to, let's see, admit. Once we get everybody in, we'll do introductions and all that good stuff. There's my King girls. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Good. Y'all got in. I got to figure out what's going on with that email and why it didn't come through, but we'll get it all taken care of. Let's see. I think this class we're going to have 1, 2, 3.
Mama, did you have all those
Yeah, they're gone, but they've been used.
Yeah, and this class is going to have 14 in it. So it'll be a pretty big class. So everybody will start coming in. So, and then my dog, of course, is going to bark. Shh.
Mom, can you turn?
No. I'm going to run her upstairs real quick. I'll be right back. Come on, let's go upstairs.
Bye.
All right. Put her in my husband's office. Let him deal with her. Okay, here comes Jonas. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Good.
She's good. Tired of dealing with the baby, but good.
Very good. How is that baby doing?
She's loud. Very
Well,
loud.
Babies can do that. Babies can be very loud.
We love our baby though.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't tell what she's doing right now, but I think she's destroying a toy bunny or something like that.
Oh, goodness. Hello, Micah Willoughby. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. Let's see. Here comes Evelyn.
Just waiting on the problem now.
Sadie.
Good morning. Hey, Blake. Hey, how are you? Hey, Blake. Hey, Miss Rosalind. Do you want us to mute?
There's Zoe. Let's try. All right, so it looks like we've got 14 people in this class. And so I'm going to go down the list and make sure I know that it looks like one of our new students, Richard, is having trouble coming in. Maybe he'll be in just a minute. It says it's joining, so let's see if he's coming in. And then let's see. And here comes Zoe Watley. There's my other Zoe.
Hey.
Hello, hello. So let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. I think as soon as we can get Richard in here, looks like he will be the last one.
Hey, I'm having trouble with the computer right now, so
Is that Richard?
yes.
Okay, perfect. So you can hear me though, right?
Yes.
Okay, can you see us or not?
I can.
You can. Okay, well, perfect. I know that sometimes trying to work with Zoom and everything, it's not always the easiest to do. But anyway, I think we finally got everybody. So we'll go ahead and get started. So for those of you that I have not had before, hello, my name is Jennifer Fountain, and I'm so excited to have you guys in class this year. This is definitely not the way I thought it would start out, but we're going to roll with it and make it the best we can. A couple of things that we will work on here is, first of all, we'll kind of go over the Zoom stuff, and then we'll kind of get into everything with the classes. At any point, what I want to do is, let me go ahead and give you my cell phone number. So if for some reason you get kicked out and you can't get in and you're trying to figure out and you're having trouble and you need to send me a text and let me know there is a problem with your connection, let me go ahead and give you that so you can always send me a text. I'm not real good about the whole chat thing within Zoom. Plus, if you're not in Zoom, you can't send me a chat anyway. So go ahead and grab a pencil and a piece of paper, and I want you to write down my cell phone number. So that way you have got it. You need to send me a text during class so there's a problem. Let's see, Richard, which, it looks like you're connected twice. Here we go. It's like
Okay.
you're getting some feedback.
Let me text her and tell her.
So there's an Ed and a Richard connection, both on here. I don't know which one you want to use. But maybe that'll take care of the feedback, muting one of them. Okay, let me give you my number, okay? Go ahead and at the top of your paper, my name is Jennifer Fountain, and my cell phone number is area code 205 533 1525.
It's right.
That's 205 533 1525. That way, if there's ever a problem, something happens, I know that can be kind of a helpless feeling when you're trying to get logged into Zoom and you can't get in and you feel like you're missing something. It can be super stressful. And so I want you to be able to get me a message and let me know that you're having trouble so we can try to figure it out.
Video.
Okay?
Out of the thing and then come back in.
Okay, so let's see.
So.
Alrighty, so let's see if we can get Richard fixed. Oh, I lost Evelyn. Let's see. Okay. All right, so everybody's got my number. Let's see. Richard, are you still with me or not? Okay, I think he's rejoining. Give him just a minute to get connected back up. Hopefully we'll get all the kinks out today, and days after this will be a little bit smoother. So raise your hand if you already had one class today. Raise your hand if you've already done this. Almost everybody. Awesome. Very good. Was it quite as crazy as this was? Has it been a little? No, just me. Thanks. Just kidding. No, it'll all, hopefully we'll get it all worked out and figured out. Did everybody have a good summer? Did you at least get to feel like you had a little bit of summer? Mine kind of felt like it was just kind of mashed together between the end of school year and then summer, and now we're at the beginning of school year again, and I'm just not quite sure like where we are or what we're doing. But I would much rather be in the classroom, but we'll hopefully eventually get there at some point. Let's see if I can get, hopefully Ed will get locked in. Ed, his name is Richard. Okay, so let's see. So everybody that's here knows each other from the co-op, right? So take a look around. Does everybody know everybody so far? Anybody new that you're seeing that you've never met before? I'm thinking that Richard is going to be our only new student that's been new to the co-op. Have you guys, any of you ever met Richard Hart? Does anybody know him? Okay. I think he's brand new to the co-op. And so, which is understandable why they're having trouble with the Zoom login and everything. They didn't do this the end of last school year where we all got pretty used to it. So let me see if they're, they said they changed computers, so they're getting ready to try to log in again. So one of the main things that I'll go ahead and talk with you guys a little bit about as we get started. I appreciate you guys logging in and getting on. Let's see, let's try to get it back in. And so as we kind of go through this, we'll just kind of, is that Richard? There he is.
Okay, there. Thanks.
There he is. Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Good.
Good. Glad you got it all figured out. All right. So I was just kind of talking with the class. Now, you were brand new to the co-op. Is that right? All right, this is your first year. So welcome from our class, Algebra 1, and we're excited to have you. Everybody give Richard a hello wave. This is so weird being like distant and not being, not being in the classroom together. For those of you that have had me before, y'all know that I am fairly relaxed, fairly talkative. That could be a good or a bad thing. And that, I don't want this to be a stressful situation. I want this to be as good as an experience that we can have. And so hopefully before too long, we'll all get to kind of be back together. But for now, we're just going to roll with it and go on and do what we need to do. So just a couple of quick housekeeping things that we'll go ahead and kind of talk about. As we do these classes, I know that they're going to be challenges. There's going to be problems with bandwidth and streaming and this, that, and the other, and maybe siblings are trying to log in at home too, and we'll just go with it. So if for some reason something ever happens and we were to totally get kicked out, or I had to shut everything down and we had to restart a meeting, I would just go ahead and reset up a new meeting thing, and I would email that out immediately. Okay, so if that ever happened and we all got kicked off, then I'll just send you a message. We'll just start another link and go from there. I'm hoping that at this point we've gotten all the stuff worked out with people who were breaking into Zoom meetings and all that stuff. So hopefully that won't be an issue either. But if anything ever had to happen and if somebody were to come into the meeting that wasn't supposed to be in the meeting, I would immediately just shut down the meeting. I would send out a new link for us to all join back up to. Okay. So that's kind of how we'll handle those things. I haven't had that issue yet. Hopefully we won't have the issue, and that will be nothing we have to worry about. The other thing will be that I appreciate you guys logging in. The main thing is, when we log in, this is going to be a little bit different than if you finished with me last year. It was a little more relaxed. I sent y'all videos. We just kind of did our Zoom time to chat and visit and check if there were any questions and things like that. This time will be a little bit different. It's going to be quite a bit more structured. We're actually going to do our learning through the video, through working together. So that means we're all logged in at one time. With that being said, there's going to be kind of some rules that we need to follow as far as Zoom goes. I appreciate you guys logging in, putting your microphones on mute and all that good stuff. You don't have to. If you're in a quiet environment and you're not concerned about noise and stuff like that, then you're fine to leave it unmuted. If you're in an area where there's a lot of traffic and things going on and a lot of sound would be distracting, then I appreciate you keeping it muted. And then if you have a question to ask, if you need to unmute, unmute and say, hey, whoa, I have a question, I don't understand, or whatever. So we'll kind of work things that way. The other thing is also, so we have our microphones muted, but go ahead and I want to see your faces. I want to be able to see y'all. So make sure you have your camera on. So maybe Jonas, we need your camera on. Mark turned his off, but now I need him back on. So that way I can see you. Part of everything that we're doing right now, and one of the things that we talked about as a cooperative is, as we have to go back, attendance is going to be mandatory even with our Zoom classes. And so if for some reason that you're not able to make it, I just need your parents to let me know ahead of time, hey, they're not going to be tuning in today. We are recording these so that way they can be sent and watched later, but then I have to get a follow-up email from your parents saying, hey, they watched the video, we've gone through it and stuff like that, because I don't want anyone getting behind. Starting off the school year this way presents a bit of more of a challenge than it did finishing up last year. Last year, we had a bulk of the year finished. We just had a few things to finish up. It wasn't as big of a deal. I don't want anybody getting lost at the beginning of the year and then going through the year really having trouble and struggling because they missed some things at the beginning of the year. So Jonas, are you there? If you're there, Jonas, go ahead and there he is. Okay. Are you having trouble with your camera, or is there a reason you can't turn your camera on? So can you turn your camera on but mute your sound just so I can see you? I know also it will be, there's Jonas. Good morning. All right. So as we're working through these things, let's see. So my plan is that I'm going to be hooking up the iPad. I'm going to be working things on the screen for you to see, for us to actually, you know, try to get as close to being in the classroom as we can without actually being there. So one of the things I want you kind of monitoring and figuring out for yourself, because everybody's different, is your work environment. Are you in a place where you're going to be able to work comfortably, stay focused? It's going to be a challenge having 2 50-minute periods of math sitting at home. It's going to be different. And so I know it's going to be kind of distracting and hard to focus and stuff like that, but I just want you to hopefully set yourself up for the best environment to be able to do that. My plan is that when we get signed on and get started, I'll set my clock, and at, so the first class period goes from 10:20 to 11:10. And then the next one goes from 11:15 to 12:05. And so my plan is at 11:10, we'll take a break, just like we would if we were at the co-op and the bell rang. We would take a 5-minute break for you to go stretch your legs, go get a snack, get a drink, go to the restroom, whatever you need to do, we'll take that break, okay? So we at 11:10, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back at 11:15, and then from 11:15 to 12:05. Now, we may not go all the way until 12:05 every day. I don't know. It just kind of depends on how things are going. It may be some days that we finish up a little bit early, and I give you time to kind of work on assignments. And then that way, if you stay logged in and you're working on assignments and you have questions, I'm here to help you. And that leads me to the other thing, is that at any point that you need help, please let me know. Please, please, please do not end a session or struggle through homework not knowing what you're supposed to do, okay? Please let me know. You can send me a text. Everybody got my cell phone number. You can send me a text of a problem and say, hey, I'm stuck on this. What do I need to do next? You can send me a text and say, hey, can we Zoom real quick? We can get on one-on-one and work through things. But the main thing is just, number one, keeping up with your work, making sure that you're on top of it and not getting behind. Number two, asking questions when you need help. Now, I know in this big of a format, you may not be comfortable unmuting and going, hey, wait, I have a question. If you are, that is fantastic. Please don't hesitate. But if not, just be sure to send me a text. Like I said, the chat feature within Zoom, I don't want to be chatting. I don't want to send chats that are going to be distracting to other students and stuff like that. So no chatting during the meeting. If you have something that you need to talk with me about, if you would text me, and then that way I can handle it, but then we don't have to all get disrupted by it. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about homework. Because we're in a different situation, homework is going to look a little bit differently. And yesterday I sent an email, and I know that my King girls, and then did anybody not get that message last night? Okay, I'll make sure that everybody's got it. In that email that I sent last night, it has a link on there that where Thomas Wolfe had done a quick little video of how to upload homework. Okay, and so that is going to be what we're doing with our homework. Now, there's going to be a couple of steps to this. Number one is obviously that you do your homework. Number two is that you are going to need to get your homework into a PDF format. Now, a lot of phones, I think in the intro video I sent you guys, I told you about the one that I use. It's called Tiny Scanner. It's just an app on my phone. I think it will only hold 3 scans at a time for the free version. So usually what I would do when I was using the free version is I would upload one thing, I would have it, and then as soon as I emailed it to myself, I would delete it off the app so I could use it to free up space for additional scans. But so Tiny Scanner, there's all kinds of different scanning apps. You guys, if you have questions and you need help, let me know if you have a problem with it. You may have your own method, but basically what it does is, and that's what, if you got the email printout, or if you got the list of the textbook pages, that was how I loaded it. Was I just put it into my Tiny Scanner app, and then I emailed it out. It automatically turned it to a PDF. So I was able just to take pictures of the pages in the book, and then email it out. So that turns it into a PDF. So the main thing is that our homework needs to be in a PDF format to upload into the site. What I'm going to try to do now, I'm going to try to share my screen and show you guys how to do this. I'm not saying it's going to necessarily work, but let me try it. Actually, let's see what I need to do first. Well, let's see. Okay. Are y'all able to see my computer screen right now or not? Y'all can see my computer screen? Awesome. Okay. So what I want to do is, if one of the things I did not think about is hopefully my bandwidth is going to be enough to do it all, because I know like we may just have to talk about it if it won't go. Okay, this is taking too much time. We'll just stop that for a minute, and then we'll kind of talk through it. Get it to stop. Okay, so have all of you guys uploaded homework? I know that Ed, that Richard, you would not have. Has everybody else uploaded homework to the site before?
Yes, I did it yesterday. It was the previous.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So, so there's the link that I sent last night that has a video that I was hoping to be able to share, but it looks like my bandwidth is kind of lagging. So it's not letting me do that. But the main thing is you're going to log into your the Homeschool Life account, okay? Then you're going to use your personal username and password. And then with that, you will go to our class, click on our class, and then you're going to go to the assignments. Once you're with the assignments, you're going to be able to click on to upload the homework. So one of the things that we're going to need to do is with homework, Am I dragging on y'all's computer? Yes, no, a little bit. I'm trying to decide. It may even be better for me to log in with my phone. But anyway, so the main thing is your homework will be due by class time each day. Okay, so that's going to be, so basically you're going to need to upload your homework before we meet for class. So if we have homework today, and we will, then that means your homework is going to be due on Thursday before we meet at 10:20. Okay, so that means you've got to get your homework done and get it uploaded before 10:20 class. That is going to be for an effort grade. Okay, so that portion will be effort based. And I'm going to send out a follow-up document this afternoon that has everything listed out to talk about. So you know what your expectations are, so we make sure that everybody's on the same page. But the main thing that's going to be different than the way we did things, if you were with me for pre-algebra last year, you did not have to upload any homework or do anything. You just had certain things that you sent to me. The biggest difference is that we will be uploading homework and that your homework will be due before we meet at 10:20 on either Mondays or Thursdays. Any questions about that? At any point, if there is some reason that you have not been able to get your homework done, and it's a valid reason, your parents may email me and let me know the reason why the homework is not done. Okay, if it's something that you and your parents have talked about, and I know that there are certain things that happen or whatever, but you know, if it's just that, hey, you know, they were up late and they didn't get their homework done or whatever, then you're still going to get points counted off of the effort grade. But if there's something going on, I know that there's family emergencies and there are things that happen, and if there's a valid reason, an excusable reason, and you need more time, then y'all just need to let me know that. Again, like I said, I'm going to send this email out, I'm going to send this information out to parents this evening, so they can kind of go through and know what the expectations are. But the main thing is that homework will be uploaded and that it will be due but by class time the day it's due. Okay, any questions on that? All righty. What I want to go ahead and do now is, since we've kind of covered those little things, since we only have about well, no, I guess we've got a little bit more time before our first break. For those of you that haven't had me before, I was thinking this morning, I think this is my 7th year at the co-op. This is my 6th year teaching math. This year I'm teaching pre-algebra, algebra 1, and I'm picking up geometry this year. So I know Mr. Perry also teaches a geometry class, and so I'm going to be picking up an additional geometry class because that was a need that we had as a co-op this year. So so basically I'm all maths. I'm also starting to do ACT prep this year. Last year I did some ACT classes that I did through the ACT organization about becoming an ACT certified tutor, and so I'm going to be starting those classes on Wednesday. And so basically kind of some things for you to be thinking about as you get ready and kind of start going through your math journey and your school journey, and kind of thinking about what your plans are beyond high school. If you're planning on going to school, going to college or whatever, then you take the ACT, and that's the college entrance exam. And so anyway, that's another thing that I am going to be working on this year, and kind of getting it to grow for hopefully the co-op and outside the co-op. I know sometimes we can't work everything all in our schedules, and so I'm going to have some outside classes as well that will be ACT related. But anyway, so that's kind of a little about me and my experience with the co-op. I am married and I have 2 children. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son, and they will not start school until next week. So hopefully, if y'all ever hear any strange noises coming through, usually it's going to be one of my children messing with me. The first day that I was trying to record videos to send out the welcome videos, I had gotten everything set up and I got ready and I said, "Good morning, I'm Jennifer Fountain and I'm going to be your Algebra 1 teacher." And all of a sudden I heard this in the background, and it was my daughter. She was waiting until I got ready, and then she was hiding on the stairs trying to mess with me. So that's what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I don't know if any of you guys like to pick on your parents too much, but my children love picking on me. They love waiting until I'm very serious and trying to, you know, be organized and stuff, and they will totally mess with me. But they start school next week, and so hopefully they'll be in school. Who knows how things are going to change, but they start school next week, and so they will be out of my hair a little bit. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Do y'all have any questions of me or for me before we get started with kind of our math stuff? Any questions that y'all have? All right. I guess I always enjoyed the camaraderie of our class, and y'all know that this was a very chatty class last year in pre-algebra. So it's very, very strange for me to be the one doing all the talking and not having you guys chit-chatting too. It's good in the sense that teaching will go by very quickly and we may finish a little bit early, but it's bad in the sense because I love seeing you guys interact and enjoy, you know, kind of cutting up with each other. And so I'm struggling with that a little bit, but we'll be okay. So anyway, I guess we will go ahead and get started. Any questions before we get started on our lessons? I know there are several of you guys that are waiting on books to come in. I think I've got a couple in this class and a couple in my my pre-algebra class that books were on back order. So if you need pages, good, Michael, you got yours. It got in. It wasn't supposed to be here till Wednesday, was it? And it got here early. So so anyway, if you need more pages, if your book is not in and you need more pages, just let me know and I can send you copies of those. But I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. And in your textbook, this one, if you've got it, the yellow one, we are going to go ahead and open up to page 3. On page 2, you've got the football. Page 3 on the right-hand side. Lesson 1, kinds of numbers. So if you used Horizons last year for pre-algebra, if you were with me or if you weren't with me, if you've ever used Horizons, they have their book broken into lessons. Okay, and so as you flip through it, you'll see, we lost Grant. He's coming back. So you'll see that everything is just lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. It's not broken up into chapters. So one of the emails I sent you guys, and what I'll do is I'll resend everything today to make sure that you guys have everything you need. And this will also be a sheet that I'm going to be printing out and giving you when we get to the co-op. So you'll have it to keep in your binder so you know what lessons I'm grouping together to combine as a chapter. Since this book doesn't break it into chapters, I'm grouping our lessons together. So you'll be able to know, okay, on this first test, what content is on there. And I think I do have that. We're going to see if I can do a better job of sharing my screen in just a second. Let's see if I can pull that up, at least for you guys to be able to see that. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to try this whole share screen thing again. I don't know what that is. Why will it not go away? Okay, so on your screen, do you see the syllabus that's pulled up? Can y'all see that? Okay, awesome. So real quick, what we can do is we can kind of go through that for just a minute. This just starts off, and y'all should have this. It's our basic syllabus that just says where we will be meeting when we're at the co-op, Mondays and Thursdays, 10:20 to 12:05. Class description just talks about what we're talking about. Required items. One thing I will mention here, we've already talked about the textbook. In Algebra 1, you can use a calculator, okay? So a calculator is fine. The main thing I just want you to do, the one I put on here is the TI-30X2S that you can get. It's usually the easiest one to kind of work with and get familiar with. It is also one that can be used on the ACT. So if you get familiar with it, then in a couple of years when you get ready to take the ACT, you already know how to use it. And then a binder that has some pockets and paper and pencils and all that good stuff. So when I give you handouts or give you work, you have a place to keep everything together. You've got a place to keep all your homework together. So those are kind of our required items, the things I would like you to have. I am okay with you using your cell phone as your calculator, as long as you're using it just as a calculator and you're not on your phone, you know, during class time. But the main thing is we're now in Algebra 1, so we can use a calculator on things, unless I specifically say do not use a calculator. There'll be some skills that I want you just to work on and brush up on, and I'll say, hey, you know, do this, you know, mental math, write it down, however, for that, okay? Course requirements. I have on here that about a homework assignment sheet. That will be something that I will be giving you once we return to the co-op. I can email that to you as well, and then that way if you want to go ahead and start using it, you can. But the main thing is coming to class prepared, making sure that you have your book, making sure you've got your homework completed, making sure you've got something to write with, and so you are ready. Those of you that have had me before know how I am about notes. I love taking notes. Some of you may not love taking notes the way I do, but there is a huge relationship between your brain and your hand. And when you are writing things down, when you write notes, it goes into your head so much better, and you remember what you are learning so much better if you will actually write the notes down. Some people have a great photographic memory and can look at something and pick it up immediately and remember it. I am not that person. A lot of the students I've run across are not able to do that. So I like doing notes so you've got something to refer back to. Again, I'm not going to hold your hand and force you to write notes, okay? So that's going to be up to you. Since this is kind of your beginning of your high school career, by taking notes, it's going to help you prepare for other more difficult classes, taking notes later too. So it's kind of a learning experience as well. So, so notes will be something that we'll be talking more on. But the main thing is about the classes. We will be recording the Zooms. I will be emailing them out. So that way, if you miss something, you will have the notes, you will have the lessons to go back to work on. Grades will be posted in the grading system, and that is going to be where you're uploading your homework and all that good stuff. You should have your login and password for that system. If you need it, the Cornerstone office will be where you'll get that from. We will have quizzes, end of chapter tests, semester exams, homework assignments, and all that stuff. Now here is our breakdown for our grading, okay? So I thought I had changed this number, but evidently I did not. I wonder if I pulled up the wrong thing. Okay, so so right now, I'm trying to, if there's a change to this, I will let you know. I was thinking I had it 60-40, but I might have decided just to leave it 70-30. So tests and exams will count for 70% of your overall grade. And then the remaining will be quizzes, worksheets, work packets. That will be 20%. And then your homework effort grade will be 10%. That homework effort grade is going to be, did you get your homework turned in on time? Okay, that's what that effort grade is. And then your right, wrong homework grade and everything like that will count within that 20% work grade. You can see the grading scale. A is a 90 to 100, a B is 80 to 89, a C is 70 to 79, D is 60 to 69, and an F is a 59 and below. Now, one thing to know is that you have to maintain at least a 70% average during the first semester for you to be able to return after Christmas. So if you do not have at least a 70 in the class per the co-op requirements, in January you can't return, which means that you end up having to finish, I guess, on your own or doing something, but you've got to maintain a 70% in class. Those will be things that we're discussing. If anybody ever gets down to that kind of grade, we're already going to be having discussions with parents and you and me, and we're going to be talking about, okay, what is it that's going on? What's causing that grade to be low? Is it, not doing homework? Is it test grades? What's going on with that? So hopefully that will not be an issue that we have to deal with at all, with nobody or with somebody not being able to return. That homework and daily assignments, your assignments are going to be from what we cover each day. Test will cover 8 to 10 lessons of material. It'll be adjusted as needed. That's that sheet that I'll be sending you again that has it kind of grouped together. That'll tell you, okay, the first 10 lessons, then we have a test. How many lessons are next? And then we have a test. Late assignments, know that per the Cornerstone policy is that an assignment that's turned in late without notice to me, if something happens and your parents send a message and say, hey, we're behind on this, we're sending it in, I need an email from parents. But if I haven't received any kind of information and if it's late, it's 50% off for late assignments. And then if I don't have it within 2 days, it's an automatic 0. So please be sure not to have late assignments. Absences, even though we're dealing with Zoom right now, and then we'll have kind of our hybrid classes where we're in for a week and Zoom for a week, all that good stuff. Attendance is still required. If you're going to miss, I need to know ahead of time, and then you're still required to watch the videos and stay caught up with your work, okay? So if you know that you're gonna be out ahead of time, it would be great to let me know. But the main thing is if you miss more than 3 days of a class, then the co-op has said that we don't have to give grades. So that means the grading is left to you guys on your own, and then that becomes a problem when you're trying to turn everything in at the end of the year to your cover school. Early dismissal, if there's ever a time that you have to leave a Zoom early or a class early, I just need a message from parents ahead of time so I know that you're going to be leaving. The next is academic integrity, and I do not foresee this being an issue with any of you guys, but the main thing is academic integrity just means that you are doing your own work, that you are doing the best you can with your work, that you're not just sitting down doing a problem and you're Googling it or going to PhotoMath or things like that, that you're not looking on anybody else's paper, working on stuff, that you're not getting outside help with your assignments. So it just means that you're doing your work. We're in a situation where you're doing a lot of your work at home. You'll be doing your test at home, things like that. So I'm trusting that you're doing your own work and that you're not just looking up answers. But because of academic integrity, this is where I do require you to show your work on assignments, okay? So I know there are going to be some things that it's just a quick little answer that we jot down, but when we get into our long involved problems and it's a step-by-step thing, I will not just accept answers. I must see all of your work worked out so I can follow and see where you went step by step, so I can look and see your work. And then also, if you've made a mistake, I'm able to see what you missed and why you missed it and help you from there, okay? Cell phones and headphones. Phones are to be put away during class. Again, like I said, if you're using it for a calculator, that's one thing. There are times that we finish up work in class, and of course this applies more to when we get into the classroom. But I am fine with students listening to music when we are doing our independent work time, as long as it is quiet, it is appropriate. As long as it's not distracting a neighbor, and as long as nobody else can hear it. I know some students like to listen to music while they do their work. So if we have finished all of our lessons for the day and we have quiet work time in class, I am okay with that. But if it becomes a problem, I will ask you to not do that. So hopefully it will be a non-issue. This is the part about the parent-teacher relationship that basically, yes, I am teaching you, but it's still your parent is the one that's the teacher as far as the cover school goes, and they're the ones putting in your grades and things like that. The main thing is this is just kind of for parents to know that we're a partnership, that we're working together on all of that. The next section is about additional support and tutoring. If you find that you are having trouble with something, please do reach out and let me know. I want to help you as much as I can. If you find that you need to have additional help in math, if you need additional tutoring, we can work something out on that. I do have a math study hall that will be meeting on Mondays. I know some of you have classes and cannot attend that study hall, but if something happens and you need to add that class on Mondays from 9:25 to 10:20, that is available there as well. Now, one of the things that I want to mention here, so if you see this, it says, please detach the acknowledgement of class policies below and have your student return it for a 10-point homework grade no later than Thursday, August 13th. Today is Monday the 10th. This is something that I will be looking for to be uploaded into your homework assignment. So this is like your first real homework assignment. So I will be re-emailing out this document this evening. So you will have it. You may already have it somewhere. I know, I can't remember if it's this class or my pre-algebra class. I've already had one student actually send it to me. So anyway, so your first thing is just saying that you and your parents have read through this, you acknowledge all the things that we have talked about in this syllabus, and so this is your first homework assignment. So if you need to write that down, that you need to send your class policies to me by class on Thursday, okay? So it's gonna be a 10-point effort grade, homework grade, that we will need to have, okay? And real quick, I'll go ahead and change my screen real quick, and this will kind of show you, this is the other document that you will be getting that I've already sent once, but I can send it again. This is what shows what lessons will go together before a test. So you can see here, is everybody seeing this page? Everybody following me? If I go too fast, which I do have a tendency to do, unmute and say, Miss Fountain, please slow down, or Miss Jennifer, whatever you want to call me. You don't have to call me Miss Fountain. It could be Miss Jennifer, whatever. Anyway, Miss Jen. So anyway, this is just going to give you the breakdown. Like I said, I'm going to print this out and give it to you when we actually get into class. But if you want to go ahead and have it in your notebook, it will kind of help you to keep up with when something has been assigned, what the actual assignment is that goes along with that lesson, and what is the date due. Okay, so like with lesson 1, we're going to be going over that in just a little bit, and so you will have that. You will be able to write down, okay, this was assigned on August 10th. My homework is going to be pages 3 and 4, and then it is due on, Thursday the 13th. That would be how we would fill this out. But so you can see here that we're going to do 6 lessons in our textbook, and then we will have a test on what I'm calling Unit 1. I'm calling these first 6 lessons Unit 1, and that will be when our with our test. Now notice right now there's not a date assigned because it's going to kind of be based on what we cover and how long it takes us to cover our material. Okay, so any questions about this, about our assignment sheet that kind of has everything broken down? Then you can see Unit 2 will be solving equations, Unit 3 using equations, Unit 4 radicals, all that good stuff. Any questions about either of these? Awesome. So we've gone over the syllabus, we've gone over our lessons, we've got about another minute before we take our break, and then when we get back from break, we'll go ahead and start with our assignments. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. We'll go ahead and get everybody pulled up full screen again. Any questions so far? Anything that you're not sure about that I've kind of rushed through? Any questions? All righty. What y'all can do is during this 5-minute break, if you want to unmute and talk to anybody or talk to whoever, if you just need to go get a snack or a drink or a restroom break or whatever, we will take a 5-minute break. So come back in 5 minutes. If you have any questions for me, feel free to unmute and ask me.
See, say hi to Miss Jennifer. Say hi.
Gracious, hello, sweet baby.
Say hi.
Oh my good. Hi.
No,
Look
don't
at
grab
that
her homework.
hair. Oh my goodness. How old is she now?
5 months.
5 months. I cannot believe it's been that long. She's getting so big.
Yeah, and she's already starting to crawl a little bit.
Is she really?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
she got in the
And
pool
it's
for the
Lucy,
first time
right?
yesterday. Yes, ma'am.
Lucy. Okay. I was thinking that was right. Hi, Lucy.
No, don't eat my headset wires. Stop.
Yes, definitely at the age where they want to grab onto everything and put it in their mouth.
That's expensive. Don't eat that.
I must still be at that age then.
You like to still grab things and put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. Just make sure there's nothing dangerous.
If
I know,
we-
my son's the same way. I'll turn around, he'll have something, and I'll be like, what is that in your mouth? And it'll be just like a little piece of plastic or any kind of anything. My favorite pencils are these, the Papermate kind. And oh,
No,
what you got there?
no.
I guess I need to fix my screen sharing stuff.
I think it fixed. I think it's working.
What you got there? How about this? We'll fix that. There we go.
No. You can't eat that. No.
All right. But so breaking the plastic off, chewing on things all the time.
That's exactly
time.
what she does.
Yeah.
She got in the pool yesterday and she tried to eat the water.
Oh,
I don't know
goodness.
how well that worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to see that right now. Get that away from me. Siblings.
Okay, so I guess pretty much everybody had classes already this morning, huh? So what classes did y'all have before this class?
I didn't have a
I just had science.
I just had a
I had
Zoom.
writing.
Writing. Did I hear a science?
I had a health class.
Health class,
Yeah, I had
Grant?
science.
Okay,
I have science next.
very good. I'm sorry, Richard, say that again?
This is my first class today.
This is your first class today. Very good. You have other ones after this?
Yes, ma'am.
Take another minute.
Mom, here, take her. I want to eat a snack real quick or something.
All right, let's see. Waiting on Katie and Zoe. Everybody getting back? All righty. I think we've got everybody back. Nope, we lost Sadie. Sadie's not back yet. All right, let's see. All righty. So I'm trying to find. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up on my screen, but I got to find it first. Let's see if I can do this real quick. All right, well, I'm getting this going. What I'm going to be doing is let me lose. I am going to be using my iPad to use as writing our notes. Okay, and so I'll be sharing screen in just a minute, and we'll be going through. Right now, I've got the text pages on here, so we'll kind of work through. Again, I can't emphasize too much the need for you guys to let me know if you need help. If you're struggling, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. And also, one of the things, I don't know about you guys, and those of you that have heard me before with this, math was not my favorite subject in school. Math was not something that I grew up loving. Math was not something that I was super great at. It was something that I felt like I could not do and would not allow myself to do. I had an older sister that was super good at math, and so it was the kind of thing where if she was good at math, then that meant I couldn't do it. And so I always told myself that, and so I grew up with that. So I kind of limited myself with what I was able to do or would do all because I told myself I could not do math. And so what my hope is this year, that if you are struggling with that, I don't know, everybody comes from a different math background. Everybody has different feelings about math. But my hope is that if you are not so sure about math and you're not quite as confident with math, my goal and my hope is that this year you finally realize that math is not magic, that it's not something that you either get or you don't. It steps in a process. It's something that you just have to practice with and work with, and that you can do it. So you'll hear me giving those speeches quite a bit. Those of you that have had me know how I am with all that. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and open in your textbook to page 3, where we did a little while ago. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to see if I can get my iPad going here. Let's see. Sorry, it's giving me a little bit of trouble. I don't know. Let me do stop share. Let's try it again. I wonder if it is my bandwidth going on. All right, so we're gonna scratch this for a minute and we'll wait and see. I might have to kick my children off their devices. Now my phone's talking to me. Let's see, let me make sure I've shut everything. Okay, let's just do this. All right, so in your textbook, the main thing that we're going to be talking about this lesson talks about kinds of numbers. And so probably you haven't really sat down and thought about different kinds of numbers before. I mean, a number is just a number. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is through Algebra 1, the beginning part of the year is we're going to kind of start what we're going to call our building blocks, kind of our foundations, and being able to kind of take apart everything and put it into smaller pieces and see how they're all related, and then build from all of that. Okay, so the first thing you can see on the top of page 3 are natural numbers. You can go ahead and underline natural numbers. These are our counting numbers. These are going to be last week I was at the beach, and those of you that have younger siblings or are around other people, I was with my my niece's little boy who's 2, and so his thing right now is counting. Everything we see, everything he does is 1, 2, 3, 4. He's counting everything, and so that's what we call our natural numbers. Our natural numbers are the first set of numbers that we learned when we were little. And we, it was the kind of thing where everywhere we went, our parents wanted us to show everybody how smart we were, and we knew our natural numbers. So that's going to be our first thing, okay? Natural numbers will be our first group of numbers that we're talking about. So those, like I said, were the numbers that you learned when you were little. The next group of numbers after that are our whole numbers. At some point in your little world, at some point your parents told you that, guess what? There is a number called 0. So you grew up, you started counting, you were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but then all of a sudden somebody says, did you know that there's a number that comes before 1? And that number that comes before 1 is 0. So when we talk about whole numbers, we are talking about not only natural numbers, but now we're talking about adding 0 to that group of numbers. So those are called whole numbers, okay? The next one down from that are called integers. You're going to hear this word integers a lot this year, all right? We will be talking about integers. And I want you to picture something in your brain for just a minute, okay? I want you to picture a number line. And so think about if you know what a number line looks like. We've got our number. It's got arrows on both ends. There's going to be a 0 in the middle. And on one side of the 0, we have positive numbers, and on the other side of the 0, we have negative numbers, okay? So everybody's seen a number line, right? So everybody kind of has that idea of what a number line looks like. Well, that's what we're talking about when we hear the word integers. We're talking about positive and negative whole numbers. Now, when we're talking about integers, we're not talking about decimals, we're not talking about fractions, we're not talking about anything other than just positive and negative whole numbers. So -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. That's what we're going to be talking about with integers. All right. Then on the right-hand side, our next group of numbers are called rational numbers. These are numbers that can be written as a fraction. Now, one of the things I want you to notice is with that decimal 10 and a half. How can I write the number 10 and a half as a fraction? Instead of writing it as a decimal 10.5, what would I do to that 0.5? What is 0.5 equal to as a fraction? It's going to be equal to 1/2, right? So when I'm talking about fractions and decimals, if it can be written as a fraction, then that's what we call a rational number. Let me see if I can get my iPad hooked up again, because I try that one more time, and then that way. I may end up having to set up my hosting and just host directly from the iPad so I can share it each time, so I'm not having to depend on the Well, okay. All right. So one of the things that I want to do is just to kind of give you an idea. I want you to make a note by rational numbers in your book. Okay. We've already talked about how they can be written as a fraction. One of the things that will help is, a fraction is going to have a numerator and a denominator. So everything that when we write something as a fraction, it can be written as a numerator and a denominator. I also want you to make a note that that rational numbers are going to be non-repeating and non-terminating decimals. Okay, so I want you to, beside where it says rational numbers, and I'll show you, I just kind of made a little note up here by mine, where I just made a note where it says non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. So the way I can determine if a decimal is a rational number is it's going to be one that either ends, so like the number 10.5, it terminates, it ends. If I had a repeating decimal where it was 10.25252525, and I can see that 25 is repeating, then that would be a rational number because it's going to be a repeating decimal. So repeating decimals and terminating decimals are going to be, it needs to be on that one, needs to be repeating and terminating decimals. Repeating and terminating decimals. The non-repeating and non-terminating is my irrational numbers, okay? So non-repeating, non-terminating decimals are my rational numbers. And sorry, I'm really thrown for a loop because my thing won't link up and I had all these notes written out for you. So let me amend that. For rational numbers at the top, those are repeating and terminating decimals. Okay, those are repeating and terminating decimals. Irrational below will be non-repeating, non-terminating decimals. Means that they do not repeat and they do not terminate. Okay, so if you look at those examples of irrational numbers below, it says they are numbers that cannot be written as a fraction. So some examples of that would be the square root of 2. We're going to talk about radicals later. Hopefully you have learned about square roots at some point. You've already learned about radicals, but we're going to go a little bit further and learn more about radicals, so hopefully you'll have a better understanding. And then what is that symbol next to the square root of 2 in parentheses? The symbol pi. Okay? Now, the symbol pi is a non-repeating, non-terminating decimal. If I were to divide out, if I were to try to write out the symbol for pi, it goes on infinitely and it never repeats and it never ends. So that's what we're calling irrational numbers. So by irrational numbers, go ahead and write non-repeating, non-terminating decimals and imperfect square roots. Okay, non-repeating and non-terminating decimals and imperfect square roots. And then all of these are what we call real numbers, okay? So what I'm going to do now is, since that will not link up, I am going to put a whiteboard on here. And I'm going to do my best to draw something that I want you to draw as well. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. Okay, so draw. Ooh, I don't know if this is going to work at all. Let's see. Let me go back and do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a box. Now know that my box is going to look terrible because I'm trying to use a mouse pad to draw a box. Come on, draw. There we go. Why will it not draw? Oh, there we go. I don't have to actually push down. Let's see. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to kind of break that box into two parts where one side is bigger than the other side, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this, let's see if this will work. That's not going to work. Okay, so this is going to be called real numbers, okay? And that's what we just talked about a minute ago. This is going to take forever. I've got to figure out how to get that iPad hooked up. Okay, so this whole box is called real numbers, okay? So now over on this side over here, my bigger side, we're going to label this as rational numbers. So I'm going to write rational over here. Okay. Now, rational is going to go on that side, but this side is going to be irrational. I'm going to do IRR for short. If it helps you to write irrational, you can. So basically what we're looking at is we're looking at this whole set of real numbers, and real numbers is broken into two groups, rational numbers and irrational numbers. Okay, does that make sense so far? We good with that? Now, within our group of irrational numbers, I'm going to draw a big circle. This ought to be interesting. Okay, so I'm going to draw a big circle, and then within that circle, I'm going to draw two. Ooh, that one's way off base. Let's try again. I'm going to do two more circles. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line to identify each circle, because I know there is no way that I'm going to be able to write inside. So I'm going to put an N here because that one in the middle, those are my natural numbers. This one here, those are my whole numbers. And this one here is my integers. So basically you can kind of see how we start out small with natural numbers. We start out with our small circle, and then we go to the next circle, and that's going to be whole numbers. Then we go to integers, and all of those are part of my rational numbers. And then rational numbers and irrational numbers make up real numbers. Okay, so that's kind of what I want you to know about these sets of real numbers, because there are going to be times through the year when we talk about different types of numbers, and I want you to see how they're all related and connected. They're all set of real numbers. Real numbers are broken into two groups, rational numbers and irrational numbers. And then rational numbers include natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Okay? What do I want you picturing in your mind when you hear the word integers? See if I remember what I said I want you to picture in your mind.
A number line?
Number line, perfect. I want you to picture a number line. So when you hear the word, because sometimes there are going to be words that we hear in math that it's just going to be a word and it's just going to really freak us out. And we're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's such a big word. And it's something I just obviously am not going to understand that. No, it's just, when I hear the word integers, it sounds fancy, but all we're talking about is a number line. And when I see the number line, I've got my 0 in the middle. I've got my positive numbers to the right-hand side, my negative numbers to the left-hand side. But one thing about that number line is it extends on infinitely. Okay, that's what those arrows on the end mean, is that it is going to extend on infinitely in both directions, okay? All right, so that's our different kinds of numbers. Now, the next thing that we were going to talk about are our signed numbers. And this is kind of in the left-hand side, it says signed number rules. Now, I know in pre-algebra, this could be quite a challenge dealing with our positive and negative numbers. And it's probably going to start off being a bit of a challenge again this year, okay? It takes us a little bit of time to remember what our signed number rules are, okay? So we're just going to look underneath, and it says when adding two numbers with the same sign, add the numbers like normal, and keep the same sign. So go ahead and underline that. It says, where it says add the numbers like normal and keep the same sign. So when adding two numbers with the same sign, add like normal and keep the sign. So same sign, add like normal, keep the sign. And that goes for if they're positive or if they're negative. So you can see the example, they said if I have a positive 2 plus a positive 5, I add them together, 2 plus 5 is 7, and I keep the sign. Same thing if they were negative. Negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7. I add 2 and 5 and keep the negative sign. Any questions on that so far? If the signs are the same, add them together and keep the sign. Now this is where it gets a little more tricky. Let's look at the next paragraph. It says when adding two numbers with opposite signs. Go ahead and circle the words opposite signs. Okay, so when adding opposite signs, we are going to ignore the signs. It says we would use absolute values and subtract the smaller number from the larger number. So underline, subtract the smaller number from the larger number, and keep the sign of the larger number as the sign of the answer. Okay? So if they are opposite signs, you are going to take the difference of the numbers and keep the sign of the larger absolute value. Now let's talk about that for a minute because we haven't even gotten to the part in this book where we talk about absolute value. We talked about it a little bit last year. Does anybody remember what absolute value means? Absolute value has to do with our number line, and it's our distance from 0 on the number line. So whether I have a positive 3 or a negative 3, they are both 3 places from 0 in the number line. Okay, so that means that a positive 3 and a negative 3 are going to have both the same absolute value. They're both 3 places from 0 on the number line. So let's look at the examples they've given us here. And if you're following along, I'm going to figure out a better way to do this. I had the notes on my iPad, and we're going to figure that out for next time. But so I'm right here in the first part where it has positive 5 plus a negative 2. Okay, so notice I have opposite signs. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to take the difference of the two numbers. Taking the difference means subtract. So I have 5 minus 2, and that's 3. When I look at my two numbers, I have a positive 5 and a negative 2. Since 5 is the larger number, I'm going to take the sign of that one. So 5 was positive and 2 was negative, so I'm keeping the sign of the 5. So I'm going to take the difference and keep the sign of the larger value. The larger value has a positive, so my solution is a positive 3. Okay? Then the next one flip-flops it, and I've got negative 5 plus a positive 2. So again, I'm going to take the difference of the two numbers. I'm going to have 5 minus 2 is 3, but because now my 5 is the larger and it's negative, it's going to be a negative 3. Okay? So the main thing, what I'm going to do is when I email you these, I'm going to send you the rules. And then that way it's going to be something that you're going to hear me saying, and we're going to go through these rules time and time again. Okay? If they're opposite signs, subtract, take the sign of the larger. If they're the same signs, add and keep the signs. So we're gonna go through these and we're gonna practice with them. And so this will be something that on Thursday we'll start off, and we're gonna do a review of these signs, okay? All right, so we've talked about if we're adding with the same signs, we add them together, keep the sign. If we're adding with opposite signs, we take the difference and keep the sign of the larger. Now we're gonna look at a third type. And that is going to be, let's see how many paragraphs down. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 paragraphs down where it says when subtracting signed numbers. Okay. Does everybody see halfway down that left-hand side, it says when subtracting signed numbers? It says you're going to change the sign of the second number and add. So basically, anytime I am subtracting, I'm going to change my problem to addition, and then I'm going to follow my rules for addition, okay? So let me do my whiteboard for just a minute. All right, so what I'm talking about here is we have plus 5 minus, let me put these in parentheses. Ooh. I promise you guys this is going to be so much better on Thursday. I can't do this again. Minus a negative 2. Okay. Woo, that's a terrible. Okay, so like I said, what I want to do here is I want to change my subtraction sign to addition. So I'm going to keep the first number. It's still going to stay positive 5. Okay, so keep that first number exactly the same. If I change my minus sign here to a plus sign, now I'm going to have to take the opposite of this one right here. Okay, so since it started out as a negative 2, now it's going to become a positive 2. So now I'm going to go back to those first rules that I looked at, where I have, if I have the same signs, I add them together and keep the signs. So 5 plus 2 is 7, and they're both positive, so it's a positive 7. Does everybody see how we changed from subtraction to addition? I keep my first number exactly the same. I change from a minus sign to a plus sign, and then I have to take the opposite of my second number, okay? So that way, now I can just follow my rules. So 5 minus a negative 2 is the same as 5 plus a positive 2. And 5 plus a positive 2 is going to be positive 7, okay? Now our next thing is going to be looking at when we multiply. Multiplying numbers, I have a rule that if my signs are the same, when multiplying two numbers with the same sign, my answer is always positive. So go ahead and underline always positive in your book. So if I have a positive 5 times a positive 4, I'm going to have a positive 20. Or if I have a negative 5 times a negative 4, I'm going to have a positive 20. Either way, okay, it does not matter if they're positives or negatives. If they are the same, my answer will be positive. And then underneath that, when multiplying two numbers with different signs, I want you to circle different signs. The answer is always negative. So underline always negative. So positive 5 times negative 4 is equal to negative 20. I have opposite signs, so I have a negative answer. Negative 5 times positive 4, opposite signs, will be negative 20. Okay? Multiplying, and this goes for multiplying and or dividing, okay? Same signs, positive answer. Opposite signs, negative answer. And then at the bottom it says, when multiplying more than two numbers, count the number of negatives. If there's an even number of negatives, then my answer will be positive. If there's an odd number of negatives, my answer will be negative. And for dividing, we follow the same rules. All right, so let's go ahead and look on classwork 1 on page 3. And I'm going to take this off. We'll go back big. All right, so let's look at our box here. I am right here in this box for classwork 1. Okay, so it says identify each number as natural, whole, integer, rational, irrational, or real. And it says some numbers may have more than one answer. Okay, so we're going to start off with the number 7. All right. This will be audience participation, so if you want to unmute and answer, feel free. The number 7, is it, or if you just want to nod or shake your head, that's fine as well. Is 7 a natural number?
Yes.
Is that going to be one of those numbers? Yeah, it's a natural number. When you were first learning to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that is a natural number. So put a check mark in your box that says natural number. Is the number 7 a whole number?
Yes.
Yes, it is a whole number also. Even if we started with the number 0, I'm still going to count through the number 7. Is 7 an integer?
Yes.
Yes, it would be a number on the number line. So is 7 a rational number? What was our rule about whether or not we can tell if it's a rational number? It can be written as a fraction, right?
Yeah.
How can I write a whole number as a fraction? How do I write that?
Divide it.
Okay, it is set up as a division, but think about this. If I have the number 7 over 1, I've turned it into a fraction, haven't I? So any whole number I can put over 1 and it becomes a fraction, doesn't it? So if I can write it as a number over the denominator of 1, then I can do that as a fraction. So it is a rational number. Okay. Then when I look at irrational numbers, remember, irrational numbers that are numbers that cannot be written as a fraction. So a number cannot be rational and irrational at the same time. They're one or the other. So since we've already said that these are rational, then we know irrational is not one of them. So we're not gonna check that box. And then the last one is the number 7 a real number? It is a real number. Good. Okay.
What do you mean by real?
By a real number means that
Everything.
let me go back to my little whiteboard real quick and let's look at it. Okay, so when I'm talking about, so like if I'm talking about the number 7, it is a rational number, it is a integer, it's a whole number, and it's a natural number. So that means it is in the set of real numbers, okay? So whether a number is rational or irrational, it's going to be a real number. That's kind of like our big umbrella. So if we were to look at this as like if we were unpacking a box, and inside that box we have one side that's rational numbers and one side that's irrational numbers, they're all still in that box of real numbers, okay? So I'll go ahead and tell you, every single one of these that we're working on is going to be a real number, all right? Now, I don't want to freak you out or anything, but there may be a day that you take a higher math that you deal with something called imaginary numbers. That is outside of my scope of expertise, okay?
Yes. Are irrational numbers still real?
Irrational numbers are still real numbers, yes.
Okay.
My
So-
brother imaginary numbers to me before, and then there's like this funny comic strip about how, oh
Yeah,
up
yeah.
to-
Irrational numbers, not my area. You can ask Mr. Perry about irrational numbers, not me. So anyway, so all of these are all going to be real numbers. Let's look at the number -4. When you were little and you were running around counting, did you ever count the number -4?
No.
No.
No. So it's not a natural number, is it?
Nope.
Jonas, stop. So it is not a natural number, so we're not going to mark that one. Is it a whole number?
No.
No.
Nope, it's not a whole number either. Is it an integer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we're gonna check the box for integer. All right. Now the next question is it a rational number? Remember we talked about how a rational number, even if it's a whole number, I can put it over the denominator of 1. Could I write -4 over a denominator of 1 and make that a fraction?
No.
No, I don't know.
It's not a whole number.
Okay, I said the wrong word. So could we write that integer over 1 and make it a fraction?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it is a rational number. So now we know if it is rational, it's not irrational, but we also know that it is a real number. So the number -4 is going to be an integer, it's going to be a rational number, and it's going to be a real number. So I'm going to check 3 boxes for that one. Now let's look at the number the square root of 2 for a minute. Okay. Let me do this real quick. Remember if you were in my class last year or if you've seen this before, and we dealt with radicals.
Yep.
Oh. And like if I had the square root of 4, do you remember the first thing that we would do is we would keep everything under the radical, and I called it its little house. And we wrote this as prime factors. And we said that 4 would be 2 times 2, right? And we found that we could simplify that. And that would be a whole number 2. Don't stress about radicals right now. We're going to learn more about them in just a little bit in a later lesson. But I just wanted you to kind of refresh your memory that whenever we have a number underneath the radical sign, our goal is to break it down as small as we can so we can simplify that number. Okay? So like with the square root of 4, we can break that down into 2 times 2 underneath the radical. And so because I have 2 2's, I'm able to pull those buddies out as 1 whole number 2. Okay? Now, in doing that, I was able to simplify that. But now we're talking about the number, the square root of 2. Is there anything that I can simplify with the square root of 2? My prime factors are just going to be 2 times 1, right? So if I end up looking at the square root of 2, I could use my calculator and I could do the square root of 2. Do you have a calculator with you right now? If you have one, let's go ahead and do that on your calculator. Now, one of the things I'll tell you that if you're using a phone, I'll go ahead and show y'all, like with my phone, when I have it up like this, it's just a standard calculator. When I turn it sideways, it's going to become a scientific calculator. Okay, I'll bring it as close as I can. So you can see it's got all the different little functions. So what I would do is if I hit the square root sign and the number 2 and hit equals, I come up with a decimal here. Okay, so notice it has 1.4142135624. Now, notice that on a calculator, you're not going to see that repeating symbol. You're not going to see where it's going to keep going indefinitely, because a calculator is a finite machine, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so it has to stop somewhere. But the main thing is, so now what we can look at though is that square root of 2 is only going to fall under 2 categories of my chart. And what 2 categories do you think those are going to be? We know it's going to be a real number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a real
Irrational?
number, and it's going to be irrational. Okay, so notice at the top where it says irrational numbers, it gave us the square root of 2 as an example. The square root of 2 is a non-terminating, non-repeating number. It's one that keeps on going. So it is irrational. So the only 2 things I'll have marked for this one will be irrational and real. All right, let's look at the number 0. What do I need to check off for 0?
Whole number?
It is a whole number. Is it an integer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on the number line. Now, can I write 0 as a fraction?
No.
All right, let's look at this for a minute. Share my screen. I'm gonna erase my screen, I think. Let me get my eraser and let's make some room. I'll erase this right here. Let's talk about 0 for a minute and fractions. Okay. So I need my draw tool. Oop, not that one. Okay. If I have the number 0 and I put it over 1, and then in a minute we're going to look at what happens if I have 1 in my numerator and 0 in the denominator. Okay, that's a bad looking 0. Here's a little bit better, not much. All right, so think about when I am looking at a minute ago when we said if we put, say, 2 over 1. Remember, we're writing this, and whenever I see a fraction, I want to think about this as a division problem. Okay? I want you to start looking at fractions as division problems. So basically, 2 over 1 is the same as 2 divided by 1. What is 2 divided by 1? 2 divided by 1. 2 divided by 1 is 2. And remember that when we talk about if I am going to divide, my opposite operation is multiplication, right? So if 2 divided by 1 is 2, then that means that 1 times 2 equals 2. Okay? So I have to be able to use my opposite operations. So if 2 divided by 1 is 2, then 2 times 1 is 2. What is 0 divided by 1?
0.
0, and 0 times 1 is 0. Okay, but let's look at it here. Notice how we said, okay, 1 times 0 equals 0. So I would end up by multiplying my denominator by my whole number. I ended up with 0 in my numerator. What is 1 divided by 0?
1. Right?
Okay, let's say if it was 1. What is 0 times 1?
0.
0. So that doesn't work, does it? Because look, I've got a 1 here in my numerator. Okay? So notice how I can have 0 in the numerator and I can divide 0 by 1 or by a number. That works. But one of the things I want you to notice is this right here, division by 0 is impossible. Division by 0 does not work. I can divide into 0, but I cannot divide by 0. Okay, so that's something as we start working with our numbers, I want you to know, that's just something you've got to know, is I can divide into 0, but I cannot divide by 0. Okay, all righty. Okay, getting back to, so we said that 0 was a whole number. We said it was an integer. Is it a rational number?
Yeah.
Is it in that? Is it on the rational side or the irrational side?
Irrational.
We just saw that we could put it over the denominator of 1, right? So we can write it as a fraction. So it is rational. We wrote it as a fraction, so it is rational, which means it is not irrational, but it is real. Okay? 1 and 1/4. When you were running around counting, did you ever count 1 and 1/4?
No.
No, so it's not natural. It's not a whole number either. Is it an integer? Look at your definition for integers. Positive and negative whole numbers.
So no.
So no, because it's not a whole number. That's a fraction. So
But
it's
is it-
not a natural number. It's not a whole number. It's not an integer. Is it rational?
No, it's already a fraction.
But so that means it can be written as a fraction, right? So if it can be written as a fraction, it is rational. So it is a rational number. So if it's rational, that means it's not irrational. And we've already determined that it is a real number. All right, the number 1/6. I'm only going to check off 2 for 1/6. What are they going to be?
Real and rational.
Real and rational, good. Now we have our symbol pi. We use the symbol to write pi because the actual number goes on and on and on and on forever, and you cannot write it. Okay, so that's why they use the symbol pi. Now, a lot of times as we get into different things, especially when you get into geometry and you're using the symbol for pi or you're using the number, it will say that you can use 3.14 as a substitute for pi. That's an estimation. We're rounding it to 3.14. Okay, so a lot of times you may use 3.14 as the actual number that you're multiplying by, but right now we're dealing with the symbol. So what 2 things are we going to check off for pi? We've already said it's a real number.
Irrational?
Irrational.
But it is irrational. Good. So it will be irrational and real. And then finally, 5.3. 5.3. Is it a natural number?
No.
Nope. Is it a whole number?
No.
Nope. Is it an integer?
No.
No.
Is it a rational number?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because remember, repeating or terminating decimals are rational. So since it is rational, it is not irrational, and we said it's a real number. All right, so we've checked all of those off. We only have about 4 more minutes, so we're going to go through the rest of these for just a minute on page 3. The first one says solve using the rules for signed numbers. Actually, oh my goodness, I'm already over. We're supposed to finish at 12:05. Okay,
Oh.
so what we're going to do, so I want to stop there. I want you to turn over to page 4 in your book. Page 4 in your book. I want you to look at activities 2. Look at the chart, activities 2. That is your homework. I want you to do your chart, activities 2. What other thing do you have for homework that you need to remember?
The syllabus.
The syllabus, signing your syllabus. So those are your 2 things for homework. I need you
Do
to,
we need to finish
upload your
classwork?
signed syllabus. I'm sorry?
Do we need to finish classwork?
So no, we're going to pick up with classwork on Thursday. Okay, so on Thursday, we will pick up with using our signed numbers. Okay, so all you have due for Thursday is going to be page 4, activities 2, and your signed syllabus. Okay, now today has been a very unusual day. It's very little work to do. Go ahead and get those things done and uploaded. They need to be uploaded before class on Thursday. And if you have any questions, feel free to text me, email me, call me, whatever. If not, I will see you guys on Thursday morning. Okay? Thanks for being patient today with all the technological stuff. Hopefully things will go much smoother on Thursday. All right? Bye, y'all. See y'all Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye-bye, bud.
Oh, wait. So, Miss Jennifer, did we have to do anything else besides activities 2?
Nope, just activities 2 and doing
And
that
the
signed
syllabus?
syllabus.
Okay.
That's it. All right.
I'll probably have
All
that
right.
done by tonight. Okay.
Sounds good. See
Thanks
you
for
later.
class. Bye.
Bye, Mark.